Hey everybody, welcome out to our Sunday night devotional. Thank you for hopping on here with us tonight. Hope you've had a good week. It's been a good week for me and my family. We went to the beach, and yes, you can tell I got suntan. I'm the only person who can go to the beach and not get any sun, because apparently if you put 2 inches of sunscreen on, you won't get burned if you're pale. So I did it, guys. But I hope you've had a good week. The fall break is a good time for so many families, just being able to stop and pause. And because of that, I thought of something this week I wanted to talk about. And it's the idea, it comes from Psalm 46:10. And it's the idea, and it's used all the time, and I'm thankful that it is. But it's just that text, be still and know that I am God. And so on a week where so many of us possibly had the opportunity to pause, to think, to stop, it's been really neat. I spent some time at the beach, and for several instances I thought of the verse from Lamentations, the steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning, great is thy faithfulness. And we sing that song, but I thought about that so many times, because you just sit there and wherever you are, at the Gulf, on the beach, wherever, the waves just keep coming. They just keep coming and coming and coming, and then you wonder sometimes, when they'll stop or if they'll stop. And it just kind of reminds me of that Lamentations text of that God's love. It just keeps coming. The word tells us that they're new every morning, and great is the faithfulness of God. I thought a lot about that this week. But going back to that idea of being still and know, I want to look at a text, Mark chapter 4, if you'll turn over in your Bibles. We're going to read that in a minute. But, that whole be still situation, that idea, that's so tough for us in our world today. And some of you that know me may be laughing about that, because I'm a very distracted person. I have to get away for a while, for a few days, just to kind of be able to catch up with myself, in a sense. Much needed break for me, and maybe some of you find yourself in that situation where, you know what, I need a break. I need a rest. I need a day off, whatever that may be. But spiritually speaking, I think so many of us need a break, and we need a rest, and we're running 200 miles an hour, and we don't really know how to stop. And so I want to give you a little encouragement tonight from a text, and I want you to think about this idea. Jesus doesn't just offer us rest. He showed us how to do that. And so if you look in the text, every gospel has some account that says something like this. And Jesus, seeing the crowds, had to get away to a desolate place by himself to pray. So he doesn't just offer us that rest. He really shows us how to be still and know. And so we talk so much about being like Christ, but one area that I think all of us need to be a little more like Christ in is just being able to slow down and stop, push pause, think for a while, and then respond. In a world where it seems like so many people are at odds with one another, and people are just reacting and one-upping each other on this negative thing or that, I think Christians need to think about Psalm 46:10 and then connecting it back to Mark 4 here. And Jesus really showing us, how do you respond and what do you do? And if he needed breaks, boy, we sure need one. And if there's ever been a time for a break and for a rest and for a reset, now is a good time for all of us. So I hope you'll think about these texts. All of us, this is not just a somebody thing, all of us need time with God, a long time, a rest, a break, that idea of being still. I want you to think about tonight with me, and we'll come back to this question, but, really think about this. Are we too distracted to be a disciple of Christ? Think about that. Mark 4:35. On that day, when evening had come, he said to them, "Let us go to the other side." And leaving the crowd, they took him with them in the boat, and just as he was, and other boats were with him. And a great windstorm arose, and the waves were breaking into the boat, so that the boat was already filling. But he was in the stern, asleep on the cushion, and they woke him and said to him, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? And he awoke and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm, and he said to them, Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith? And they were filled with great fear and said to one another, Who then is this that even the winds and the waves obey him? When we started these videos, this is really I think this is the first text that I use. But I keep coming back to it for some reason. I think for the biggest one is that I need that peace. And I feel like others do as well. But I want you to think about this story in the context of slowing down and pushing pause and being still. Because in this story, there's a lot of imagery that can go parallel to our lives today. But you've got Jesus and his disciples. They've been out preaching. Jesus is performing miracles. But just as I said before, you find Jesus needing rest. We pick up in this story in this storm. If you've ever been on the beach, if you've ever been out on the water, storms come up. You can see them coming. Sometimes there's not a lot you can do about them. You just got to ride them out, I guess. That's what's happening in this story. I find it so interesting that while the disciples, these fishermen, are kind of losing their minds about this situation. Do you not care? Do you not see? I think Luke's account's the one that says, and they were in danger, and then here comes Jesus into the story. That's really what I want to focus on. Because we all have storms in our life. We all have problems. We all have difficult situations that we don't know what to do. Even us, all of us Christians in the same boat. No pun intended. We're all going through this journey of life, but there's things that happen in life, and you don't know what to do, and you don't know where to turn. And I think that's why it's so important to talk about and have a conversation about just stopping and thinking, closing your eyes and asking God. And I think if we would quit being so reactive and we would just think, literally, I know it's cliche, but what would Jesus do right now? That our decisions, our choices, the things that we said, the regrets we had, everything would be so different. The narrative would change so much if we would take this serious. And so you've got a storm, and you've got a group of men who are, they think they're dying. They even say that, do you not care that we're perishing in the story? And I love this story because it teaches us so much. But Jesus just stands up and tells the winds and the waves what to do. It would be nice to have that power, but I don't. And I don't guess you do. If you have that ability, give me a call. We all want that power, but we don't have it. God does. And so the reason that you and I need to be still and know that he is God is because he's the one that calms the storm. And he's the one that has the power to save us. And he's the one that showed us on his best day, on his worst day, that we need to be carving out time for God. We need to be pausing. We need to be reflecting. We need to be thinking about these things. And not just to do that, just to be still, be lazy. That's not what it's saying. We need to be still to know that he is God. And because of that, that should lead us to do some things. So I want you to think about that. I want you to go back and read this text here in Mark 4:35 through 41. It's a wonderful story, and it fits so well into our culture and what's going on today. But I want you to think about that question that we talked about. Are you too busy for God? Are you slowing down? Are you taking time to just be still? And after that time, are you working for the Lord? What are you doing? Because we all want peace, and we all want a long list of things. But I think sometimes we're unwilling to do what it takes to get it. And we're also unwilling to go to the place where we get those things. And in this story, we see these men who have seen Jesus, his miracles, they've seen all these wonderful things, but they've lost their faith in him in a way here. And Jesus is sleeping in the storm, but it doesn't mean that he's not compassionate. But his power shows up in him just standing up and saying, "Storm, you need to stop." Wouldn't it be nice to have that power? Well, we all know the one, and we pray to the one, and we're in relationship with the one that does have that power. And so I want you to focus on those things this week and think about finding some time, making some time, instead of mindlessly scrolling through some type of social media platform, of just talking to God, waking up with the Lord, spending time in his word with his people. But I want you to think about that. Be still and know that I am God. I hope you will be still this week. Hope you will read this story. And in a world with so much disunity and so many problems, hope you'll think about the fact that at any point in your life you can close your eyes and you can talk to the one that can calm the storm. And I hope you'll do that. I pray that I'll do a better job of doing that in this crazy fast world. We need to all slow down and just be still and know that he is God. Hope you have a good week. Thank you.